Hello, and welcome to Universally Direct. This episode is about the third principle that I gave my son in hopes of raising him into a good man. And that principle is a man never loses control. And this is by far his most important rule. So, every day I'm driving him to school, and, usually when we're pulling into the loop, I ask him, son, what are the three principles that we live by? And he says, a man keeps things clean, a man never lies, and a man never loses control. And then I say, and what's the most important rule, son? And he says, a man never loses control. And he says that one twice a day, every day. And on weekends, this isn't a part-time gig, being a good dad. And, you know, I wanted that to be the the final rule and the most important rule, and in that way, because in order to be a good man, it takes steps. It's a progression, and it starts from within. It starts from keeping your things clean, cleaning up your side of the fence, getting all your affairs in order, taking pride in what you do. When you don't have that strong set of personal ethics, then you're not going to succeed. You have to have this code of honor, these three principles that you live by in order to be the best you. And it all starts from within. So you start with a man keeps things clean, instilling pride in the son, instilling pride in your daughter, if you want to tell her these. But getting that in there that you ought to be proud of the job you do, that's transcendent, because it gets into the realm of half-assing and cutting corners, you know getting that mentality that it's acceptable, and not only acceptable, but you desire and have a want to ooh, cheat a little bit here, or try to pull one over, or tell a little white lie to get you out of the job and get you out of the work quicker. That is a fundamental character flaw. And the attribute of your personal character that you should harbor and pay into is one of, being proud of the job you do, and doing a good job for no other reason than the self-satisfaction that it brings you. So there's an amount of selfishness to pride. And that's why it can be taken to excess, just like any and every emotion, state of perspective, state of mind, whatever you want to call it. Anything can be taken to excess, and anything can have a deficiency. And pride is one of those things that needs a golden mean. But you ought to have it, because, when you can do a job 100% and give it your true 100%, just because it's not in you to give any less, because you would feel a little ashamed of yourself if you knew you left something undone, or in any way didn't fulfill the potential that you knew you could have easily done. That eats at you, and if it doesn't, it should. It should start to eat at you as you consider your actual worth, the value that you possess, that you bring to the world, that you bring to any relationship, that you bring to any endeavor and any career eventually, and any, path in life, is going to start from within. You got to clean up your side of the fence. You got to get yourself straight. You've got to have a strong sense of morals that you live by, and ones that are going to positively benefit you. They're going to make you a more stable, a more conscientious, a more contemplative, a more assertive and driven and visionary person. It all stems from the virtue ethics of Aristotle. And I really recommend anyone to read Aristotle, because he's a great starting point of philosophy that has a direct personal impact and benefit that you can apply to your life and see results from. and it's 2 millennium old, man. It's tried and true. This is a part of what it means to make a good human. And I think those four cardinal virtues were meant to do just that. If you live by these virtues, you will be the best person you can be. And that's something to look into. Or you can just keep watching these videos and listen to me explain why all of these things make sense and in the succession that they're in, because it starts from within. And then after you get your sense of identity, then you've got to decide what identity or how much of it or how little of it you're going to show to the world. So the projection of yourself is different from the internalized, self identity, like the crux of who you are. That's internal. It's immovable. Um, but it's all for you. It's all based entirely in here and not out in the real world, right? So then the second self that you develop in the second area uh, in your character, where you can start to, you know, get in line, is the image that you're going to be projecting on people and the way you're going to be perceived. Like, you've got to ask yourself, what is the you that you want people to think of? What kind of a man do you want people to say you are? What kind of qualities pop to mind? And again, selfish indulgence, man. Just have a little daydream where you're just thinking about, oh, all the cool people that you look up to or you wish you could meet, saying all these great things about how badass you are. What would they say? These are the strengths and these are the attributes that you want to accentuate, that you want to work towards with hard work and time to get better at. So that way you can become the person in that vision, the ideal self that you would like to project to the world and to be perceived as by the world. That's the you now that you construct. First, you get the discipline. First, you figure out your morals and your ethical code. Then you figure out what kind of a person you're going to use those morals and ethics to help you mold. And once you have that, then you need to practice with this great responsibility that we've been given, with lives and that can influence and change and benefit the world and live a wonderful realm of experience. Now we need to decide and understand and really learn how to control our actions moving forward as these people that we strive to be. Because at the end of the day, I've always said this, it doesn't matter what you say, it matters what you do. Actions speak louder than words. That's the classic saying, ain't it? Well, it's true. And I listen to people who I respect when we're having intellectual conversations, but as far as when judging situations, judging people's character, uh, you know, I just look at what they do, what they say. You know, over half the time it's just bullshit. It's what they want you to hear because they're working on that second step. You know, where they're trying to be an ideal person that you'll like. They're displaying attributes that they want you to pick up and say, "Oh, okay, you're a good guy." You know, they don't want to tell you that they're a procrastinator. So yeah, a man never lies. You know, nobody likes a liar. If you lie, you're a liar. That's not a person that you want to be perceived as. You don't want people to think that you're a liar. So, in order to ensure that, you can't lie. You know, don't be a liar. Don't lie. Be honest. Be genuine. Being genuine is something that people love. That's going to be the person that you're projecting, a genuine, honest person with integrity, with morals, you know, someone that's going to do the right thing because you're grounded. You understand that, lying and deception and all these negative attributes, they only breed more of the same, you know. That's the path to, chaos and struggle and, misfortune. If you got integrity, you got morals, then and you're projecting a self that people will like, an honest guy, a trustworthy guy, you're going to have more friends, more positive influence in your life, and your life is going to be fuller for that. Now you have shaped a person that, can give and receive love, that can be stable in committed relationships, can be a good father to children or mother to children. If you're females listening out there, thanks a lot for sticking through and taking the philosophy for what it's worth, because I really want it to be applicable to men and women and sons and daughters. It's just about being good people, but I see a need, a desperation, a desperate need in the men in my age group, and especially the younger men. And we can get into that in another episode of why it is that we have so many struggles with these really old concept things, with this with an old school mentality that shouldn't have gone out of fashion. We got a lot of lost and confused men that need help and they need guidance because they didn't have dads. And we'll get into that later. But all of this, laying the groundwork is to come to the head of this whole philosophy, which is never losing control. It's putting this person into practice in the real world, where you're going to deal with adversity, you're going to deal with stress, you're going to suffer in your own ways, just like we all do. It's part of the human condition. It's one of the four noble truths for my Buddhist out there. All these concepts that I talk about and I contemplate, and that have helped me formulate the three principles for my son. They're nothing new, man. They're things we've always known, and they're things that through years of evolution have been bred into us as integral parts of who we are as people. So they resonate today now more than ever, because it's just about who we are, who we always have been, who we've grown into. And there's a need to have self-control. It's the most important thing you could ever have. It's the epitome here. This is now the master class. Like, this is what ties it all together and makes it all make sense and helps you to perpetually move forward. You know, it's having self-control, knowing when to work harder, knowing when to take it easy, knowing when to say no when it comes to your finances, when it comes to unnecessary things, when it comes to being lazy and the convenience seems so tempting. Discipline has been, from the start of this, principle number one. A man keeps things clean, and is coming full circle now at the end, with a man never loses control. You could consider that control over all aspects of your life. You want to be the captain of the ship. You want to be the one steering this boat. And that means being in control. And there's nothing wrong with being in a position of power as it pertains to your life and it pertains to your future. That is exactly where you want to be, in the position of power, making the decisions calmly, intellectually, and applying them with discipline and hard work. That's the goal. That's the goal that I want for my son. I want him to grow into a man with good morals, with a good head on his shoulders, who has a desire to be somebody in this society that we must take part in, and to contribute to the world in positive ways and in ways that give him fulfillment and purpose. And I know that he can do that if he exercises self-control in all aspects of his life. That's why I've drilled it into him now. And that's why he'll grow up with this as a fundamental part of who he was from as long as he can remember. This is the hope of this three principle philosophy that I formulated, that I'm gonna put into writing, that I'm getting this book published as soon as I can, man. But you know, life is going. I'm ramping it up because I want to finish my bachelor's here at UTSA with a 4.0. I plan on getting into a very prestigious higher learning facility, you know, for my master's program, for my doctor's program. I want to get into, you know, something solid. I need to do a little more research on which doctors and which psychologists in the field are really doing something that strikes a chord within me, because I want to be passionate about the work that I'm going to be potentially pursuing. I want to be passionate about the team that I want to join, and I want to feel um, good about going in to mentor and learn from these individuals. So I got to make a big list here and pick out my rock stars and go get my learning on, get this PhD. Um, I really hope that the book is written and published well before then, because that's about 5 to 7 years away. I mean, oh God, it's crazy to think about. Anyways, you know, that's the end of that little mini series that I told you all about, the three principles to raise your son by. Um, a man keeps things clean, a man never lies, and a man never loses control. Emotional regulation. You know, when you have self control and you can regulate when you're angry and when you're sad and when you're pissed and when you're anxious, you're unstoppable, man. And that's something that we could get into our kids with the simple principle that they repeat twice a day. A man never loses control. Give them that. It's the very least you can do as a father. I hope this helps somebody. Uh, it's always a blast. I'm really, you know, starting to get into the swing of this whole talking into the camera thing, looking at myself staring back at me. But you know, I'll get better as time goes on, and I can't wait to start getting into some topics next and some issues, things that weigh heavy on my mind, things that I talk to friends and family about, and things that I think can benefit everybody, just like psychology in general. So until next time, you know, keep working on being the best you. Universally direct, everybody.